Hey everyone, welcome back to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real-world events, share and inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You're currently watching the Sunday afternoon drawing group with me, Jason Leeser, which is hosted every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. You might be beaming in from YouTube or Facebook, or maybe you're listening to the podcast, but you can always get the latest event schedule and notifications at the official Reinventing the Tattoo community, found at both app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, or directly at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. If this is working for you, please let us know in the comments and chat. And please tag a friend who loves tattoos. All Reinventing the Tattoo network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars, all of it can be enjoyed on demand and found in the library, as well as the YouTube and podcast channels. There are countless tattoo and art rabbit holes for you to dive into. Perfect for the front room of your studio or to entertain your tattoo clients. In fact, we're beaming out 4 channels 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can find that at reinventing247.com. We have some weekly staple shows that we like to encourage people to attend. Sundays begin with me, Jason Leeser, at 1 p.m., which is followed by 9 p.m., the Tattoo Weekly show, with Lauren Gregory, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Mondays at 9 a.m., we have the Early Bird Drawing Group to start your week off right with Kier. And that is followed on Mondays at 9 p.m. with a subscribers exclusive drawing group directly with Guy Aitchison himself. Tuesdays, we have 10 a.m. drawing group with Ricardo Sertivant, extremely talented artist and unbelievably talented tattooer, where he goes through and we talk about life and philosophy and fine art tips and tricks. Wednesdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley, which is a little bit more business focused. Thursdays at 10 a.m., we have a subscriber exclusive with Kier, who goes through and discusses all fundamentals from light and value and form, shape, flow, composition. All skill levels and apprentices are encouraged to attend, and that's Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Thursdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Ruckus. And then there's nothing on Fridays or Saturdays. Yay. We have a couple of real world events that the Reinventing the Tattoo crew will be attending and promoting. Starting November 12th through 14th, I guess that's going on today. Today's the last day of it. We have the Brussels Tattoo Convention with Nick Baxter, Ivana, and Gabe. There should be some seminars and some art jams, maybe some meetups. If you guys are over in Belgium, by all means, get together and meet up. February 5th through 6th, Reinventing the Tattoo will be live from the Red Tree Gallery in True Tube's headquarters in Columbus, Ohio, where there will be art jams, seminars, and there's going to be a lot more information about that on the way. April 11th through 14th, there's the New Hampshire Inspiring Tours with Sean Barber and Nick Baxter, which is a small group-focused painting getaway, if you will, painting retreat, where a select number of people will be able to get together with Sean and Nick to go through and do a very personal painting workshop with them. May 20th through 22nd, we have the Hell City Columbus Tattoo Convention, one of the best tattoo conventions in the country, I might add. It's absolutely incredible and features artists from every walk of life. June 3rd through 5th, 2022, we have the new Deadly Tattoo and Art Show in Calgary, Canada. There's going to be more information about that on the way. I know the website should be going live within the next week or two. So please keep in touch, stay focused, and yeah, keep tuning in for more details on the Deadly Tattoo and Art Convention hosted by James Tex in Calgary, Canada. More information to follow. July 8th through 10th, 2022, we have the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo with a whole bunch of Reinventing the Tattoo track artists. It's at an amazing venue this year, and it's super easy to get to. So please check out the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo. July 29th through 31st, 2022, we have the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanek, which if any of you know Tony and his machines, should be one heck of a show. Would like to go through and take a second to thank some of our sponsors. First up is Inkjet Stencils. Print stencils from your mobile phone or your computer or your tablet. Save your time. Save your hands, save your apprentices' hands. They offer webinars and they'll give you free samples. So if you're really trying to take your work to another level, maybe step up your stencil game. And the best way to do that is with Inkjet Stencils. Next, we have Interstate Ink LA. You may know Church from his awesome custom sneakers that you may have seen on Instagram. His studio is seeking residents and guests, all clean and sober. If you are an artist in recovery, or you know someone that needs one, for a supporting studio on Instagram, go to Interstate Ink LA. Next, we have Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source, rawpigments.co. I've actually started to include a lot of those in my daily lineup, and they are awesome. After that, we've got World Tattoo Events for the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. They have lots of updating as conventions are getting rescheduled like crazy. So please keep up to date with them. I know I check it at least once a month for some of the latest updates. So definitely worth a look. D-Lies Pro, also known as Dermalized throughout the rest of the world. Protect your art. If you're still using saran wrap and plastic wrap to cover your tattoos, maybe it's time you step your game up from that. D-Lies Pro is designed to heal tattoos. They've got a whole bunch of videos on YouTube from tattooers. Take a look, see what it's all about. Of course, Tattoo Now, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels. They're now accepting new clients. So if you're really trying to gain a bigger presence, if you're really trying to push your advertising, that's where you're going to want to do it. Get in touch with Tattoo Now. They will definitely help get your name out there. And of course, I would like to thank the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison, who you can reach at guyaitchison.com and tattooeducation.com, where you can purchase copies of his Biomech Encyclopedia, his DVDs. He's got some custom tattoo machines for sale. He's got some original oil paintings for sale and countless other merch you can pick up. You can also pick up subscriptions to Reinventing the Tattoo Canon. I myself have a subscription and it is definitely worth the purchase. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on their channel. I was at a really stale point in my career where I felt like everything I was doing was looking exactly the same. I wanted to level up. You know, I wanted to find that next step. So I went through and I picked up a subscription and I, figured it out. It's less than $1 a day. For less than $1 a day, you can really up your tattoo game. Plus you get access to like live seminars and stuff like that with Guy himself. You really can't beat it. And of course, I would like to thank our affiliates, the Fireside Tattoo Network, hosted by Jake Meeks. There is absolute gold on there. If you don't know about the Fireside Tattoo Network, you're really missing out. You definitely have to check it out. And Amy Nichols from the Apprenticeship Diaries. You are absolutely an 100% incredible person. I can't say enough about you. You're awesome. Thank you so much for all that you've done for me and for other people as well. Of Cool. Now that we are wrapped up with our intro, let me go through. I'm going to switch some things around. And today I'm going to be working on that oil painting that I started working on a little while back. Looks like Kier's joining us today. Kier, are you there? No? No? Maybe? Okay, well, she was there a minute ago. Let me turn that waiting room off. Or don't enable. Oh, there you are.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
It's not evening yet. Evening's like 5 p.m.
Well, yeah, I know, right? It's been getting dark so much earlier.
Like 3 o'clock. It's like, oh, it's dark out now.
I know, right?
What's up, bud? What's going on?
Not much, not much. Actually, that reminds me, I need to pull up the Facebook page because I should be streaming out to the tattoos.com Facebook page as well. Totally forgot to do that. So running a little bit behind, but yeah, I'm going to be working on an oil painting in just a minute. It's one that I started the couple weeks ago, and I've been chipping away at it for a little while. Nothing crazy, but you know, it's me getting back into oil painting because I took a very long hiatus from oil painting. It just wasn't really something that, you know, I really felt like I was, not that I was not very good at it, but it just, I don't know, there was something about it that like was just, it just wasn't what I was into at the time. But now I'm trying to get back into it. Yeah, so it's something that, you know, I'm trying to work on.
That's awesome, man. What? Because you've been delving into like these new mediums and stuff. So like, what really got you onto this new path of trying out, not so much trying out, but re-analyzing these new mediums and getting yourself into all that?
Constant self-discovery.
Okay.
So I mean, believe it or not, I can't really put too much beyond that. Like I can't really say too much other than that. It's just constant self-discovery and constant renewal of, you know, what I know, if that makes any sense.
It does. Because I think that's what we're all trying to do, right? Constantly as artists. Self-discovery.
Right. You know, self-discovery, self-exploration, you know, different things of that nature. It's, you know, I like to explore different mediums and like try different things every now and then. Not that I don't know what my staple, you know, mediums that I love to work in are, that I've become extremely proficient at over the past, I don't know, 10 years. But, you know, if you're not constantly trying to push yourself and explore new stuff, then what's the sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but you know, some people fall in love with like one medium, and that becomes their thing. You know what I mean?
And that's great. And I'm not saying that that's not, you know, possible, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Like if you know what you like and that's all that you like and that's all that you ever want to do, that's cool. More power to you. Like I commend you on that. But I find that I learn different things using different mediums. So, and I'm constantly trying to learn more. So for me to go through and, you know, pick up oils again that I haven't touched since college, you know, for me is just a very, it's like revisiting fundamentals and basics and, getting back to, what I started doing way back when. I started out with oils back in college in a very smallish kind of classroom where we would all constantly get high off of paint thinner fumes. So it was always an interesting time. And we weren't getting high on purpose off of paint thinner. It was more or less like a side effect because they didn't have things like,
ventilation.
They didn't, well, I mean, yeah, but if it's the winter time and there's like 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, you don't want to have to go outside or open up a window and have everyone freezing. So and this was before all the non-toxic like mineral spirits came out, like Gamsol and stuff like that. This was way before that. So it was interesting.
That sounds interesting for sure.
Oh, it was a dandy time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I have my mom with me. My mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi. I'm driving. She's driving.
Oh, I almost forgot. I need.
Well, that's awesome, man. You just working with like a black and gray gradient going on now, or are you just gonna add some teal in there, or what?
So, while I was up at the Paradise BYOB, I was asked to help out and sit in with Christian Perez as he was doing his oil painting seminar, and I picked up a couple of things from him while I was there, and I was paying attention. And he's using this stuff called solvent-free gel. It's like an oil painting medium. Don't know how well or if this is in any way in focus, but it's from Gamblin. It's got like this really kind of like non-obvious like blue label to it. Works pretty much like liquid. But I kind of like it a little bit more. It seems a little bit less runny. So it almost seems like it holds in place a little bit better. So I've been trying that out, and I picked up another set of brushes. But one of the things I picked up from his seminar was almost never use straight black.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Right? Yeah, don't bother, right? I mean, why would you use nothing but straight black? Straight black is boring. Mix a color in with it.
I said that in my class last week.
Yeah, it's boring. It's dull. Unless you're only doing a very specific monochromatic, black and gray painting, fine, whatever. But your contrast better be on point if you're only doing black and gray.
Or if you're adding your ambient occlusion, my friend.
Well, true. But I'm talking strictly monochromatic here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ambient inclusion is great, but if you're working with monochromatic and everything is monochromatic, how can there technically be ambient inclusion?
Well, if there's a light source, then there's an ambient inclusion no matter what.
True. I always think of ambient inclusion more as like for people out there that may not quite know what we're talking about. Number one, you should probably tune into Kier's Thursday morning show. Where she goes over all this stuff, but I think you kind of need a subscription for that. But I always think of ambient inclusion and relate that more to like including your background color into almost like negative spaces around your primary focal point to give yourself a little bit of that like ambient light source or ambient color inclusion. If that makes any sense. You see Timmy B do it a lot. You see a whole bunch of other people that have really kind of mastered bringing that background into focus, into prominence in a lot of their artwork.
Absolutely. I agree.
Oh, do you now?
I do, man. I 100% do. I always agree with your philosophical statements that you make.
Yeah, and you know what? The statements I make are just the things that I've come across that I've started to pick up over time.
Yeah.
By no means am I saying I am always right, because there are probably a lot of times that I'm not, but I know certain things that I've experienced and I try to pass that on. But I'm always welcoming new ideas, new perspectives, and new ways of being. Because without going into things with an open mind and saying, "Oh, I never looked at it like that. Let me give that a go. Maybe that'll work better for me than what I'm doing." Without being open to those types of new ideas and new perspectives, it's hard to really sit down and say, "Oh no, this is the definitive answer," right?
Right. Absolutely, bud.
And at the end of the day, it's like, what is the definitive answer to anything? Not that I'm trying to get super, philosophical and all
we
that
don't have
stuff
card
right
over
now.
here for that.
Yeah,
I
I've done a couple of different
day.
layers on this painting so far, and I figured out that when I stopped using mineral spirits and paint thinner and linseed oil and all that stuff, my oils were drying quick, which was always like the biggest issue I always had with them.
Wait, they dry quick? Like you don't like when they dry quick?
No, I love it.
Oh, okay.
It makes it more like working with acrylics.
Which
But I mean, because they do take a little bit longer than acrylics to dry, I do kind of like that, because it allows me to lay something down and then maybe go back into it the next night. Because generally speaking, I only get the chance to work on things for like an hour or two a night if I'm lucky. And I know my head's probably blocking everything right now, but I'm just trying to find
up close and personal with Jason's head.
There we go. That one will do.
Oh, that's amazing, bud. It looks great. You're doing epic. I like how everybody's been doing skull rendition.
Yeah, I completely and totally blame Christian Perez for this.
Yeah, literally. Shout out to Christian Perez.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I'll actually switch my camera back over. Let me pull up his Instagram, because for those of you that don't know about Christian Perez, you need to know about Christian Perez. Let me pull up his Instagram real quick.
Nicest human being I've ever met in my life.
Seriously, an absolutely incredible human being.
Just like, he's Christian Perez, and at first I was just like, holy shit, he's Christian Perez. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, nah, man, you're just a normal person. I like you. You're just chilling. Which is the cool thing about meeting artists that you look up to. You get all nervous and jittery for like 30 seconds. And then you're just like, oh, that's right, you're a person. Unless you're Jesse Smith, and then in that case, Kira's going to embarrass yourself real quick.
So this is something that Christian Perez started. Yeah, this is an oil painting he started at the Paradise BYOB.
Insane.
And this is him just working on some of his super fine little detail spots to it. But looking at the insane amount of texture that he gets in these skulls, like all the tiny little minutia from like the tiny little highlights on these tiny, pitted little spots, to like, he's detailing the rope, and that rope is maybe 1/8 of an inch wide. It's his use of focus and his use of light, texture, and color is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, we're talking to him about color theory. It was like the best time of my life.
Right? Yeah, this is Christian Perez, Christian 1 Perez, on Instagram. You'll see his little thumbnail picture is a skull, obviously, because he loves skulls. You know, he's got some of his 3D models. He's got some tattoos that he's done up there. Having seen this one in person was like life-changing.
Yeah.
Right?
At the Paradise BYOB, even just painting next to him, I was like, I don't even want to paint. I just want to watch you paint, my guy.
So believe it or not, that's actually something that I was talking to Chris Dunn. I believe I interviewed him last Sunday. And that's something that I was bringing up with Chris Dunn, was that, you know, I almost don't like working at tattoo conventions anymore. It's to the point now where I almost want to just like save some money and just go and attend them, you know, just because I always find myself deliberately either walking around and watching people and just trying to pick up new tips and tricks, or, you know, wanting to go out and network and socialize and, you know, just talk to different artists about different things. You know, I get so distracted so easily sometimes that it's like, is it even worth it for me to get a booth at some of these shows? Because I know that if I do, I might just be walking around the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice not tattooing at the conventions this year. Just walking around and getting a feel for everything. But I don't know. I mean, like, isn't that what like after conventions are for? Is for like asking the questions and meeting the people, doing the thing.
If they have time.
That's true.
You know, and that's something that it's one thing to ask them questions. It's another thing to sit down and observe them working in their process. You know, why
Like
are
when we
they
watched,
doing this step in this area before, you know, other steps? What's going on over here with this? Why did you do that with this as opposed to something else? You know, that's so that's where things can get a little different, because when you can actually observe their process as they're working, that's what I really, really enjoy. And that's what I've always found to be very beneficial. So I don't know, to me, it's like a catch-22, right? Because if I go to these shows, yeah, I stand to make my money back, and yeah, it's going to help me build a clientele base in said area, right? Which is going to help me bring in more money overall, which is going to help my career and help me keep the roof over my head and all that stuff. But it's almost like, but if I don't go around and network with people, and if I don't go around and observe other people's processes, am I really learning more? Am I really getting better as an artist, or am I just kind of...
No, don't say that. Yeah, you are, man. Just doing the thing makes you better. You know, if you're getting too stuck into one way of doing things, then like finite tune them until you find the whatever the heck that you want to do. Don't lose sight of that, Jason, that doing the craft teaches you things just as much as watching and asking others.
Very true. Very, very true. By the way, I picked up a new brand of oil paint that I've never used before, and it is awesome.
Oh. Let's hear about this. We always love when we pick up new things.
Okay, so it's a little pricey, but I mean, for really good oil paints, it's going to run you a bit of money. But they have pretty much standardized pricing across the board, so that's always nice. But it's a company called Charvin, and I'll pull up. They make some of the most awesome colors I've ever used. Charvin extra fine oil colors, premium quality oil colors. This is French blue. It says it has a luxurious butter feel, holds peaks and brush strokes. It's highly pigmented, super concentrated color, blends beautifully for infinite color possibilities.
Infinite color possibilities. See, I gotta test that out.
It's from Charvin Artist Materials in Paris, France.
Oh, see, you're bougie.
Are you kidding? This tube of paint was on sale for like $8 at Jerry's.
Oh, okay. But it's from Paris, France. That's bougie.
Listen, have you ever been to Paris?
I know you have. Wait, have you?
I have.
Yeah, you have. I know, man. We were supposed to go to Belgium this week, but you know, COVID had to happen.
Right? No, I've so there are definitely non-bougie places in Paris. I know. I stayed in one of them. Like the area of Paris I stayed in, for the rate, for everything, for the accessibility and all that stuff. I mean, when they had a football game going on, you know, Europeans call it football, we call it soccer. When they had a football game going on, man, people would stumble home wasted, and it was loud as hell. It was an experience. But it was definitely not like the you know, super crazy bougie, you know, area of Paris that I stayed in.
Oh wait, is this open?
I don't know if I like these brushes. I just got a new set of brushes too.
Are they Trical brushes?
No, they were
Then I
cheap
don't
on
get
Amazon, and it was a 3 a.m. impulse buy.
Only Trical brushes, my guy. Like,
I don't
are
know.
the
Da
only
Vinci
ones ever
Da
used.
Vinci brushes are pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, if you and the bougie brands.
No, Da Vinci's like a mid-grade brand. It's not even expensive.
Oh, okay.
Now, if
Well,
I was talking about some of my Raphael brushes, those are pricey. I got those back in college, and they've lasted me 20 years. And I don't think I've ever lost a bristle.
I don't know why. I just pictured like your fanciest brushes, like your most bougie brushes belong in like a glass case with one of those like hydraulic push doors.
No.
You just put on the glass and just
Listen, if
And it's just
I'm gonna spend a decent amount of money on something, I'm gonna get my use out of it. Right? There's no sense in buying, you know, let's say a classic car, right? There's no sense in buying a classic car if you're never going to drive it.
like that car in Ferris Bueller.
Right. If I owned that car, I would drive it around all the time.
My dad rubs it with a diaper.
Yeah.
All the lines of that movie. That's what you remember?
Yeah, my mom goes, out of all lines in the movie, that's the one you remember. I remember that whole movie, truthfully, but
You know what the crazy thing is? That movie wasn't even about Ferris Bueller.
what was it about?
It was about his friend.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what's his name? Don't tell me. What's his name? Cameron.
Yep.
Cameron.
It's about Cameron's evolution and how he learns to stand up for himself, and he learns that, you know what? Even though I have all of this anxiety and I have all of these things that I dwell upon,
Yeah.
life is too short to dwell on this negativity.
If you shoved a lump of coal up his ass in a week, he'd have a
It would
diamond.
turn into a diamond. Yeah, it's about him learning what life is about.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna go to lunch though. We just arrived, so I'm gonna leave you. But
Go for it.
I love joining in. Okay.
Yeah, you're always welcome, Kier.
All right. Bye, bud.
Later. You be safe.
Oh, well.
Hey,
Hello.
Faith, how's it going?
Going. Drawing forms.
Good.
Yeah. You know, light on a paper towel. Roll. Yeah, making progress.
That's
Last
good.
This week I couldn't even find a form to draw. I'm ready to go. What's up?
Not much. Not much. Just doing my thing, working on this oil painting a little bit more, doing another glaze.
Ferris Bueller, huh? I wish I had that car right now.
What car?
From Ferris Bueller.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what car it was, but
It was a
in a Chevy.
something like a 1953 Ferrari California
Gotcha. Yeah.
or something like that. Why is this not?
I have a mom mobile, but it's just for my paintings. I don't have any kids.
Right? Isn't it funny the way that works sometimes?
I had to trade in my my sports car for something that'll haul art, a whole art show in the back.
Yeah, I traded in my my sports car for something that was a bit more all weather because, you know, living in the Great White North, you need to be able to get around in the snow.
Yeah, I lived in Maryland, which is kind of like wintry mix area. So if we did get a snowstorm, none of us were prepared for it. So I got stuck in a ditch once in a Mustang full of snow. I had to
Yep,
take a
that'll happen.
fucking rear wheel drive. Not good. What are you working on? Oh, the skull again?
Yeah, I'm just adding another glaze to it.
How many hours have you put into that?
Believe it or not too many, maybe 12, 10, 12.
It's a lot.
No, not for me. I mean, I'll spend as long as something takes until I feel like it's at that point where I don't want to mess with it anymore.
Some of my paintings took like a long time. Like I basically did them over and over. Like if they ever go back through and like wipe off the top layer, there's gonna be a whole other painting under it. Because I was trying to figure stuff out. My mom gave me a plein air palette that had 3 different sets of primaries and told me I wasn't allowed to use anything else.
Which makes sense.
It does, and she's always told me no black and no green. I have to mix my own greens, and I'm not allowed to use black since like day one.
Well, green's a secondary color, so I mean that I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, like she
I
used
mean, black is nice to desaturate colors, to create those very specific tones.
to. I never got used to the greens in the tube, even in tattooing. It's like one of the colors that I know the least, just 'cause I never used it. But I know it. I don't know. It's weird. It's like I know it better, but I don't. I use the bottles. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I remember it took me like a day and a half to find violet. Like to find purple and violet, like with the colors that I had, the 3 primaries. Because I didn't realize like how dark it is. Like true violet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know.
I couldn't.
I know.
figure-
I had that quest one day in art school, and
Yeah, exactly.
and the thing is, I was trying to mix a cobalt blue and a cadmium red, like a cadmium red medium, and I was trying to get this like deep royal, like, you know, dioxazine purple, and I just kept mixing it, and I was like, I asked my professor, I was like, listen, I can't make this color. What am I doing wrong? I have my blue, I have my red, I have my yellow. I said, why can I not make this color? Like, I need this to be a cooler purple than a warmer purple, and all I'm mixing is like a grape color.
Right.
You know, what am I doing wrong?
I
Right?
kept it, but it would look so like dark and black that I just went right by it, and like I was looking around for it. And then when I would add white or whatever, it would be that grape color. Like you said, I couldn't find violet, and then I told all my friends when I found it. Keep going.
And that's when my professor enlightened me to the fact that not all primaries are created equal.
That's true.
Right?
That's
Not all primaries are going to give you every single color you're looking for. And that all comes down to the base pigments that the paints are made from.
that was a wake up call. Let me tell you, not all primaries are created equal.
Yeah, some start out with different, just different base minerals that will give you different colors by default.
what's in them.
And those base minerals will allow you to achieve the colors that you're looking for.
I always assumed it was like flowers. It's minerals.
Some are minerals, some are organic, but most of them, from my understanding, are minerals.
Define mineral. Is that like rock?
Yeah, different types of like rock and natural compounds that are created.
Yeah, I didn't do geography type stuff, if that's what that is. But yeah, but I remember when I found it, but that's why, like you said, if you get a diax or whatever it's called, purple, and you get a pigment that's already like that bright purple, like that's like such a, I don't want to use the word cheating, but at the same time, it's just it's like a blessing that you get to use these pigments that are. So now, like when I choose what colors that go into my palette, you have to like choose carefully, you know what I mean? Because it's like, can completely change the game compared to what you have.
I mean, it's what it ends up coming down to is the difference between, say, an alizarin crimson and cadmium red medium, right? Both are reds.
Those are both
they're made from two different types of compounds. Because they're made from two different compounds, you're going to be able to create different values and different colors with each one, right? Because you're never going to be able to create a cadmium red.
My mom,
right? That is a pure pigment. That is a pure tone. You can't mix two colors together and get red. Like that's not feasible.
The hard lesson too, just what cadmium red really looks like. Like just what red really looks like cadmium red. It's like a weird color. Like you don't see it a lot, and I don't know. It's like almost like a dull, kind of weird, like waxy kind of a red.
Not the cadmium red mediums that I've ever seen.
I don't know what
those are. Very, very standard, mundane, like very blah. Okay, this is red, kind of red. Very mid-tone, very.
Cadmium red.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like waxy and like just kind of not like it's. I don't know. It's like not. If you get like the really expensive one, it's really pretty red, but at the same time, it's not like red.
No, I mean I've bought tubes of Liquitex Basic Student Edition that were cadmium red, and that's like the cheapest shit I can get. And it was red. It was like a very mid-tone, very middle of the road red.
What I'm trying to say is that red is not what I thought it was.
Oh, gotcha.
What I thought red was going into cadmium red is not what red was. So when I started, it was weird for me to kind of like understand. This was like a year ago what red actually was. But she gave me 3 sets of primaries. And the first one was the bright primaries, which was cobalt, cadmium, and cadmium, so yellow, red, and the cad medium, yellow, and red cad medium, and then cobalt, which is like the primary, like bright, like kind of midtones. And then she gave me another set, which was Algerian crimson, ultramarine, or no, Algerian crimson, Prussian, and freaking lemon. So that bright, bright lemon. So, and those were called my dramatic because it was like super dark and super light, and Algerian crimson blue in it. And then the last set was dull, which was yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and ultramarine. And at first I thought I was only supposed to mix like those with those. Like I was just mixing the cads and the cobalts together, but then she was like, no, you just do whatever. So you end up with like all these infinite combinations of those three kind of vibes mixed together. So if you take like a dull yellow and you mix it with a bright red and then mix it with the dramatic blue, that's a lot different than if you just mix all the brights or the middles together. And then I had a tube of white, and that was it. And I painted with that for a long time. And that's how I really started to be able to pick apart the color wheel and like see where red violet was and start to own the primaries, but they're also, I never really got to yellow ochre, and I don't know. I got into yellow ochre super late, and I know everyone loves that color.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a nice ochre.
I mean, I never understood it, and still now I put it out and I just look at it. But
I like using yellow ochres as more of like a mixing yellow.
that's kind of what, like earthy, kind of like when I want to kind of mute something or just kind of down it.
Yeah, it's a very muted form of yellow.
Yeah, because it's hard to mess with yellow still. You know what I mean? For me anyway. Like I was just using yellow yesterday and trying to get it. I think I used like three to four little caps of yellow, trying to get the right color. And whenever I'm gonna mix with yellow, I just put out like a bunch of them and little ones because I just kind of assume. But I got it in yellow ochre now. Maybe then I won't have to do that.
Well, here's one thing to remember, right? Is that if every color you put out is bright, then nothing is going to be bright.
What?
If everything is bright,
Right,
like all your colors, if every color is bright, then nothing is bright.
Right, but if you mix them all together, then that works just as well as putting them out, right?
Well, yeah, because you're going to neutralize them. But I mean, I wouldn't mix them all together because then you're just going to create mud.
No, but I mean, like I can, just because I put out all bright colors doesn't mean I can't get muted colors out of them, right? You're saying that if I don't have any starting?
Well, so what I mean when I say that is go through and know that you need to mute certain tones out, right?
Right.
Because if all you put in, say you're doing a rose, right?
Right.
And you have bright yellow out, you have bright red out, and you have, say, a bright blue out.
Okay.
Right? With no black. Well,
right.
You don't have the option to go through and create a dull tone, no matter how hard you try, because you're using all pure colors. You need to desaturate some of them. You need to neutralize some of them because they are going to be bright. If you mix a bright yellow and a bright red, it's going to be a bright orange. If you mix a bright yellow and a bright blue, it's going to be a bright green.
Right, but I make like mixed black shades, or I don't know if that's the right term, and then I make desaturated darks and things from the bright ones. I find that having everything bright to begin with is just like everything's a middle value. And then I can just go down or up from that kind of a situation. And then I just put out colors that are either hard to make or that I just want to play with in that particular. I don't know, like, but I mean, I've gotten to the point where I can just put out whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just, by mixing with only bright colors for like a long ass time, any other color, I can just kind of look at it and see how it was made and then use it as though I made it myself. So it's almost like, I don't know, it's like it just, I end up going back to the same bright colors because I can just make the rest. But I like Raw has out these like muted, they have pastels that are like bright, like pure intensity, and then they have pastels that are like muted, but I feel like they're muted more than a lot of other brands, but they're still like really good colors. But I've been using a lot more of those because I have been using more of the bright pastels. Like when I do my tints and things for my forms, I just use straight up bright ink and I would add white. And now I'm starting to get into the mixing bright pastels to make muted ones, and it's just hard. And when I mix white into something, does that lower the intensity of the color? Like if I take a bright cad red and I mix white versus adding a drop or two of green to it, like does the white make it less intense? Because as like on Procreate stuff, as you go up, eventually it fades to white. But it's, I guess it doesn't, right? Unless you mute it.
Well, I mean, it almost feels like the situation should be reversed, where I should be asking you this because, you know, I mean, you have a color system out.
No, I'm aware of that.
So what's your theory on that?
The my theory on that is that, I mean, for me, getting to live in these worlds of desaturated darks and blacks when all I did was use black ink in my darks for 9 years, basically. And then to kind of live in these tints and to get these levels of light and to get depth in my work was a tremendous feat. And now that I'm trying to fine tune and figure out different ways to manipulate these areas and to live in these areas, because I mean, it's
Right, but same question you just asked me, back to you. How would you handle that situation?
How would I handle it? I mean, for me, it's I personally like, I didn't really know about muting tints. So, I mean, the tints that are muted, they go into the skin either and they're not extracting from the middle values, but also as I add white, there's less of the color in there just from the fact that I'm diluting it with white or adding white to it. But at the same time, like I don't really know how to explain it as well as I could just, I can see it in Procreate. Like I can see how it would work. But I mean, like I said, I'm trying to figure out like the very minute differences, like in the top, whether it's grayscale and light, or if it's in a face, in a portrait, in the shadows, like the nuances in the form shadow. Because I just discovered what a form shadow is, and then I'm trying to teach everyone who doesn't know what that is in a way that's easier. And now I'm also trying to figure out what to do with questions like this. And I mean, ultimately, I'm probably going to be pretty empty. Like if there are questions that I can't answer, in general, is my system only gets you to a certain point at this time, which is the point where I'm at, because I didn't go to art school. But part of it is just when, I think we've had this discussion, but when you don't know the answer, it's almost impossible to even ask the question. Like if you don't know I can't ask about something that I don't know. Like I just know there's things that I need to understand better, want to. But like I was in the chat and Kyra's, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Did I pronounce it here? Okay, Kier, she was talking about chroma, and I never heard the word chroma in my life. Starting to get into grays. I was just mixing grays out of blue and brown. I wasn't really using them as a mixture. So that kind of stuff is exciting. But I don't know. There's something else oh yeah, she taught me what the difference between burnt sienna and burnt umber are. That blew my mind. I've just been throwing out burnt umber for 9 years because there were too many to remember. So I just used burnt sienna, what I was used to.
And once again, it comes down to the base minerals that the pigments are created from.
She told me that it was one of them's green and red mix and one of them's something else.
Correct.
So that makes burnt umber cool brown.
Right.
Okay. I'm
Burnt
just
sienna
asking.
is a much warmer brown.
Right. I used it as a red in the clean air palette. Yeah. Did a blue iris that went pretty well yesterday. I've never gone that like mother effing slow on a tattoo before in my entire life.
Oh, slow is steady.
I know.
What's the expression? Slow is fat. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast, or something like that. Slow is smooth. Smooth is strong. Forget the exact.
Like I've always struggled with slowing down. I've never just like, I don't know. I feel like every shop or every situation I've ever been in tattooing, there's always been a clock, and it's not always put on by me. There's a shop owner or someone who's just like, you know, there's more people waiting or whatever it is, where I just never get to like just take what it takes, or like the pain in the whatever it is.
As unfortunate as it is, coming from, you know, someone that's been doing this for a little while, maybe not nearly as long as other people, but, you know, from someone that's got a few years under their belt, I can say without a hesitation that, you know, it's one of those situations where until you can get to a certain skill level, yeah, you're going to be on the clock. Your things are going to be expected to be done in a certain level of time. You know, it's not like a painting where you can sit back and take your time and chip away at it here and there and do a little bit over here. And you know, I'm going to really take my time and I'm going to put 30 hours into one eye socket. You know, it's not like that. I mean, when you give someone a price for a tattoo and you give them a time estimate, you need to be as close to that as possible. And when you're first coming up, it's expected that you're not going to be totally right about that. That is expected, right? Studio owners have that expectation when people are still getting their feet on the ground. They know that their timing is going to be off. And any studio owner out there that, you know, doesn't realize that right off the bat, that, you know, hey, this person's still learning, they're not going to have the best expectation and the best assumption of how long something's going to take. Well, they're just fooling themselves. You know, it takes time to get that accurate.
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess what I was trying to say is there's always somebody rushing me. Always. Just in general, self-rushing me. It's just, I think at a certain point, like I've got enough. If I stop and I strategize a little more, and I think like, is this really the best way to do this where I can get this done the fastest results with which need gravitating up towards larger mags? And it's like a little bit of strategy can save you so much freaking time. Just
Well, that all comes down to efficiency, right? How efficient do you want to be at executing a specific job?
well, it's a matter of,
Efficiency is everything in this industry, right? What is the most efficient way to execute this color or this technique or render this value or create this blend or get this amount of saturation? You know, how can I be more efficient is always the name of the game.
absolutely. And that's part of why, like, I just feel like I definitely wish it had taken a little bit less time. But at the same time, it didn't take that long. Like if I had shaved like even a half an hour off of that and rushed it, it probably wouldn't look half as. But yeah, you know what I have trouble with is I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. But
You're breaking up a little bit on me.
no, I was just thinking how to phrase the question, but I think sometimes my biggest problem is that I'm trying to tattoo like somebody else. If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, there are certain standards within the industry on application, certain techniques and things that do work.
Sure.
And this is something that I try to stress to a lot of different people that are still trying to come up in this industry is until you can get to a certain level, until you can achieve a certain level, stick to the middle of the road. There's a reason why it's the middle of the road, and that's because it's been done and we know it works. You know, and if you know something works and you know something doesn't work as well, then why would you go with the way that doesn't work as well? Until you have your fundamentals mastered to the point that you can sit back and say, oh, that tattoo right there, that's going to take me 6 hours. And you know what? Maybe you'll be done in 5.5 hours. You know, and, you know, say it's a pretty large tattoo. You know, I knocked out a full sleeve in black and gray in 2 days.
But
you know, and that's 2 8-hour days back to back.
I don't think
Now,
the issue.
could I have taken the time and worked on that more and really done a bit more with it? Yeah, but I was able to accurately predict that. That means I then have the ability to turn around and go through and start deviating from that middle of the road. But before that, I would tell people like, listen, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't. I can't estimate that. And when I was at that point in time, I stuck to the middle of the road because I knew what worked.
I mean, after 7 years, I've gotten pretty good at estimating, but I think that the issue is that my estimates are fine. It's just, like I said, yeah, it's going to be a full session, 3 to 4 hours. And then 2 hours in, the boss comes in and is like, hurry up, you got a client. And just go walk in or whatever. So the issue isn't so much the estimates that I'm giving. It's just the fact that there's always somebody rushing me shorter than those. And just general, the hustle. But I think that's why.
That's what it is. It's a hustle.
But not all shops are hustle. I've been in some that are not.
Oh, no, you're absolutely correct. Not all shops are hustle shops. But when you're working in a street shop, it's get them in, get it done, move on.
Yeah, but and I know, and I that's definitely something I wasn't prepared for when I went into the first street shop. But at the same time, I started running my machines at like a 9.5 and one-shotting all my lines. And I don't really do that anymore. But at the same time, it's like running my machines really fast and just getting it done for like a couple months that I was at that speed shop. When I slowed back down to where I kind of wanted to be, it was like so much easier because like it's like anything. If you're practicing guitar scales and you're doing them twice as fast as you're going to play them, when you slow back down, it's like it's nothing. And you can just like, I think I learned as far as machine handling, like I got so much better, so much faster at running my machines really high and just trying to do the best quality tattoo I could, just one shotting it and packing it. Shot fucking line packing grays. Next. They wouldn't even let me draw. That bothered me. Like they wanted me to just print it off Google and run it. That wasn't.
Well, yeah, probably because they were after just the money, which, I mean, there's a lot of places out there, unfortunately, that are like that. You know,
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true.
That bothered.
You know, but that's unfortunately the way that certain places are. And you know what? For cookie cutter stuff like names, things like that, fine. You know what? Go to those cookie cutter places. That's fine. When
Yeah,
you
no.
want to go with something a bit more in depth, come and talk to me. You know, when you want, you know, a nice custom piece done, come and see me. Not opposed to doing names. I've done plenty of them and I will probably do plenty more in the future, you know, but you know, there are certain people out there that are going to gear their entire studio off of, you know, quick, efficient street shop kind of stuff.
And I, like I said, I learned a lot. It's just I wasn't like especially in the beginning, I would take, and even today, I'll use references and piece them together and kind of, I always try and make everything my own, but I'm not reinventing the wheel every single time yet. Fast enough, but I try not to just like straight up print it and just run it like there's little text from the web page on the printout on the person's body, kind of a situation. I never seen that before. That was crazy. But
Yeah, I know for the first, I want to say 10, well, the first about the first 10 years, I was just focused on technique. Can I lay a single, solid, clean, straight, perfect line? Can I shade in a tattoo and do a tattoo and execute a tattoo in color flawlessly and have that color heal up perfectly, you know, in an efficient manner? You know, is it taking me 3 hours to do something that's softball sized, or is it taking me, you know, an hour and a half? You know, is it taking me 6 hours? You know, so I was focused more on technique and I was focused more on, you know, actual application of the tattoo itself. And so, I mean, I had that art background, but that doesn't mean that I knew how to apply a tattoo. So that's what I generally tried to focus on, is executing a flawless tattoo, no matter what it was.
I
You know,
definitely,
and that's something that, well, executing a flawless tattoo in a timely manner. There we go.
right. One thing I always say, it's a time test. Every tattoo, I don't know if I should test, definitely timed.
Well, I mean, it also depends on the tattoo that you're doing. You know, if you're doing a simple script name of Joe, it shouldn't take you 4 hours. You know, there are certain expectations that a simple single pass script name of the name Joe should only take you maybe 30 minutes tops. And that's if you get super fancy.
30.
You know, so there are certain reasonable time expectations.
Yeah. But there's so many, like you have to partly be a pain management specialist, partly be a sales, partly be a payment, an artist, and you have to be
Did you just say partly be a pain management specialist?
Well, I just mean you have to talk your clients sometimes through the pain and just help with, you don't think that?
I mean, I don't generally do that. I will on very, very rare occasions. But usually it's like, okay, people come in, they need to know that tattoos are not going to be fun. They're not going to feel pretty.
I mean,
Unfortunately, there's no way in the world to get around that. And I've had people come in using pre-numb and stuff like that. And it's like, why? Because once that stuff wears off, you're done. Like, you're not going to want to sit for the rest of the tattoo.
My opinion, there's 3 things that matter above all else in having a good session. Number 1, sleep. Number 2, eating. And number 3, drink green tea. Those are my, and usually gummy worm. But those are my ace. You don't have any rituals, like tattoo day rituals to get you through it?
To get me through what? Doing a tattoo?
You just show up and you take it?
Oh, when I get tattooed?
Yeah, do you have any like tricks or like I just told you mine, gummy worms and green tea?
Oh, I got a ton of them.
That's what I mean. Well, let me hear some of yours, see if they're the same as mine.
No, mine are very different. Mine involve a regimen of Advil or ibuprofen.
2 hours in an Advil, I do that.
So I take a few Advil, headphones, music with no lyrics, cover my eyes, and zone the fuck out.
Okay, so you're one of those. I have names for all of my different types of clients. Do you ever do that? Not really names.
Nope.
There's like the peaker.
Can't say I ever have.
I have there's the peaker.
I mean, my clients have names, but I don't name the types of clients.
I mean, there's just different types of people. Like there's people who put on headphones and just zone out or watch TV and just distract themselves. So there's just people who distract away from the pain. And then there's people who can't bear to watch the tattoo happening, but they want to see it. So I say they peek, like they peek after every line. Ever had that happen? Like they won't watch, but then they'll peek and then they go back to not watching. I just think it's funny how different people manage pain differently and are able to.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't come down to me being an artist. I mean, that's not my responsibility being a tattoo artist. That's their responsibility being a client, unless it's their first time, like that's on them.
I find 100% the better time my client has, the easier and better time I have as a tattoo artist. So I try to make my clients as comfortable as possible, but at the end of the day, I'm going to just get the ink in the way I want.
Yeah, I'm not really so much worried about, how the tattoo feels on my client. I do pamper the hell out of my clients. I give them an iPad, some noise canceling headphones, and I'm like, here, watch whatever you want to watch. Are you in the middle of watching a Netflix show or an HBO series or whatever? Here, by all means, throw it on. Catch up with the latest in the season. Oh, you and your partner are starting to watch this series. Okay, well then I can't allow you to watch that series while you're here. Otherwise your partner is going to get upset with me and all that other stuff. And but I do pamper my clients very, very much so. That's not the issue. The thing is, like, when it comes down to them experiencing pain, yeah, it's going to happen. That has nothing to do with me as an artist.
I have no issue with inflicting pain. So hang on, my cat's eating my table. Stop it. But it's more a matter of, it's like the same reason, like if I try to tell my client that maybe the ribs isn't the best spot for like a really long big tattoo. On the one hand, yeah, I'm like saving the client possibly some pain and some anguish not being able to finish, but I'm also saving myself from wiggling client after an hour. But I don't know. I think there is on the one
I think that a lot of that is circumstantial.
I'm not trying to
personal opinion. I think a lot of that is circumstantial because you might have someone that comes in that says, hey, I've got plenty of tattoos. I'm going to get this big ass side piece. It's like, what, are you going to try to steer them to a different area? No, you're going to do that tattoo on their side, right? They know what to expect. You know, it's not my job to, you know, tell them, hey, listen, I mean, if it's a first tattoo and they want to get a full blown side piece, that's a different story, right? That's a bit of a different circumstance.
If it's a
But
single
generally speaking, if someone comes in and they've got plenty of tattoos already, they want their side done. Yeah, I'll do it. Sit down.
No, I know, but I mean, I've turned quite a few tattoos down that I didn't want to deal with, whether it was the area or, and I'm pretty good about that, honestly. I'd say like 95%, I just do it. But every once in a while, there's one that I just don't want to deal with. You know, it's not, I'm not necessarily obligated. Like I have the right to refuse service if I don't think it's something that I want to deal with.
There has only been one tattoo that I have refused to do
Do you think
in the past few years. One. And that's because I had a younger client of mine. She was in her very early 20s, who was not established in a career, who was not established with what she wanted to do. She was not independently wealthy. So I knew she still had to go out and get a job. And she wanted her face tattooed. And I told her no. Beyond that, whatever. I mean, as long as it's not something like, you know, derogatory or anything like that. Yeah, sit down, I'll do it. I'm not going to refuse that. I'm not at that stage where I can do that. Okay. I don't, to me, I've got a few years. I am not at the level where I will turn around and say, no, I'm not comfortable with doing that.
For me, it has to do with maybe a client that I know well. Like just because, like, if you have a client that's recurring, coming to you a lot, and you just know that it's not going to be a good experience for either party. Have you ever had that kind of a situation?
Yeah, and I still did it.
I mean, I've done that too, but sometimes it's just, yeah, I can't deal with it. But
you know what? At the end of the day,
it's usually the people who aren't willing to pay what it's worth. I
was going to say, at the end of the day, when it comes down to me putting up with that and paying my bills or not getting my bills paid, I'm going to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I can put up with a lot of stuff to pay my bills.
And I've been there too. But
like, I'm not financially, set for life. I still have bills that need to be paid, which means I still need to hustle. And I need to hustle all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. I'll put up with it. I get, someone that's super, super whiny that comes in that wants to get their ribs done. Cool. Let's set it up. Let's do it. And you know what? I'll do it enthusiastically, and I'll do it with a smile on my face, because that's my job.
Yeah, that's true.
That's customer service. Do it. Be enthusiastic about it. Even if you don't want to do it, even if you're not enthusiastic about the design or the placement or, the color palette or whatever, be enthusiastic. Enjoy enjoy the opportunity to do those tattoos. Because at the end of the day, remember this, you're very privileged that you get to tattoo.
Like I'm a regular client, and that I don't sit very well in general, and I want like a realistic eagle across my chest and my neck.
Cool. Sit down. Let's do it.
For $80.
Well, no, I'm sorry, but I won't do a tattoo for $80.
Neither will I, but that's usually the situation is it's someone who it's either the area is, or someone wants like a big thing on their ribs, but they don't want to pay for.
Well, there's a very big difference between turning people away that are trying to, scam deals, and turning people away because you're not enthusiastic about the idea or the placement or anything like that.
Right, but don't you think that some spots require, or some I have someone that really wants me to black out and white work their hand, but they think it should
Okay.
be than a regular tattoo. And like you're explaining that it's like it's a whole bunch of sessions, you know, to try and get the black out and then build up the white to where it looks good. But
Right. Yeah. So if for them it's a matter of price, well, sorry, but you know, I'm sure that
price,
there's someone out there that'll fit your budget, but that's not, you know, my price is my price and that's set. That's not negotiable. Like that is not something that, you know, I even bother to deal with. I've had to
Right.
call the cops on people before because they were like, oh, well, I know you said it was this much, but I only have this much with me. And it's like, well, guess what? That's theft of services. So you can either call someone to have them put the money in your account, or we can call the cops and get the authorities involved. You pick.
how do you feel about non-tippers and or just, yeah, how do you feel about non-tippers just in general?
I mean, tipping is optional.
Tipping is optional, but I'm saying like if you, let's say there's a client that you know you take care of them and they take care of you, and then there's another client that you take care of them and they don't take care of you, you just like ultimately art is never finished, you know what I mean? So like if I have a client that tips a lot and I know I'm taking care of them, maybe I'll give them a little extra to make it a little bit better. Whereas someone who doesn't tip, like you feel like you go the extra mile for tippers and you don't.
I
Or
go
do
the
you feel
extra
like
mile for everyone.
I mean, I try to do that too, but sometimes if you continually like, and when I say go the extra mile, I mean like not being paid for what you should be paid for. Like giving someone an extra hour just to make it whatever the tattoo what it really could be.
I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
my schedule doesn't usually allow for that,
Well,
but
I'm at your level,
I mean,
obviously.
if there is a situation where I have a little bit of extra time, I don't care if the person tips or not. I'm going to put in that little bit of extra time if I can to make it that much better.
Maybe I
You know,
just
tipping is optional. Tipping is great. Getting tipped is awesome. It should never be expected.
no, it's
It
not.
should never be something that becomes a staple,
It's
you know,
not.
and if you find that, you know, you're running into issues with people that, you know, maybe they don't tip well, maybe they don't tip at all,
Well,
you know, maybe they don't understand that. That's okay. In my opinion, that is totally irrelevant to me because I'm just happy to be able to do that tattoo for that person.
I think
You know, and I charge a rate appropriate enough that whether they tip or not is irrelevant.
ultimately, but I'm not always in a position where I can set a firm rate because of the level that I'm at. So I have to kind of find my way through and there are just some clients that negotiate and are always trying to get a deal and are always trying to, those are
Well,
always
I
the
mean,
don't
put it to
tip.
them like this. Put it to them like this.
Oh,
Say, listen, when you go to a restaurant, are you negotiating the price for a meal?
And the thing that really bugs me is when,
Well, I mean, it's a very simple question. If you go to a restaurant, are you negotiating a price for a meal? When you go to a grocery store, are you negotiating a price for a bag of groceries?
it's really just this one client that wants his hand blacked out, but at the same time, he once he didn't have enough money and didn't tell me, and I had set a price before it, and he's always trying to get deals, but he said I was going to do the blackout, right, and I was going to cut him a deal across multiple sessions because I don't have much experience with it, and I told him that, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway so that I can get experience, and I was upfront with him, but like we were getting ready for a first session and he told me that he wanted me to fix a bunch of other people's tattoos for like an hour beforehand.
Nope.
I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not touching other people's work. I'm not like,
Or I'll do that. I'll do that. That's not a problem. but it's going to cost you more than what you were expecting.
That's what I said, but then that's ultimately why we broke up.
Well, that sucks to be him.
Why? It's just shading, is what he told
Why?
me.
Because that's time. It's not about what it is that you do. It's about your time. Time is money.
So it's the way that, and I don't expect everyone to understand what it means to be a tattooist or an artist, how hard a job it is. But at a certain point, when the client feels like they can price better than you and they know what you're worth and they're saying what your art is worth for you, kind of a situation, and bargaining and kind of reducing the job to surface value. And at the same time, I am just drawing pictures and running machines and coloring on one extent, but that's not what it really is. I don't know. It's like, it was like belittling, like I was just, I don't know. Like, this is the best job I've ever had, and I love this job, but it's not. I mean, I can't expect clients to know that, but I feel like some clients, just after they get, like, if they have like a ton of tattoos, they can sometimes take it for granted a little bit, if that makes sense. Almost like,
Well, I mean, that's where, some of these old school apprenticeships come into play, in my opinion, because you get guys that, I mean, that's part of what they teach you is how to grow thick skin, how to stand up and be like, oh, okay, you think that that's worth that? Guess what? It's now double. You can keep arguing with me on the price and it's just going to keep going up. So keep going, keep telling me how much you think it's going to cost, because I will double the price every time you say something.
you can't tell me it's all customer service and then turn around and say that. It's like,
Absolutely. Because if you have someone that is trying to turn around and devalue what you do,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
then no, I don't play that game, right? And yes, the majority of it is customer service. It's client service. It's how can I help you? What can I do to provide for you because you came to me for a service, right? Cool, great. These are my service rates, flat. That's what it is, right? If you have an issue with that, by all means, I'll be happy to give you a referral to someone else. But if you sit down and you start to insult me by devaluing my work, you're going to get some attitude back.
I had a very polite, much less sort of in your face conversation with him just about the craft of tattooing. And it just went, it was like looking at like no lights on, like couldn't comprehend that I was doing anything other than just shading like with a pencil. But then is that my ego at play too? I didn't know. But he was definitely devaluing the craft and the fact, my commitment to it and my experience, and the fact that not all artists are created equal, not in like as far as growth and pushing themselves and things like that.
You're right. And there are a lot of tattooers out there that, don't want to advance themselves. There are a lot of guys that are complacent and they're comfortable. That's cool. That's fine. You go be you, right? I'm going to advance. And that's why I'm going to charge more than you. And that's why ultimately I'm going to do better than you are. I mean, but that's more on an interpersonal level. How I would deal with someone that was trying to sit down and devalue me and what I do is, okay, cool, fine. You want to, take things in that direction. If you want to sit down and tell me that all I'm trying to do is trace, guess what? You're never going to be able to afford to get tattooed by me ever again. Because now that I know what you think, why would you come to me instead of someone else? Why wouldn't you go to Joe Blow down the street who works out of his kitchen, that's going to give you a free side of hepatitis with every tattoo, right? Why wouldn't you do that? Why are you coming to me in that case? That's where I would have asked them that legitimate question, because it's something that I would be curious about.
What if that? What if that's
Why would you be coming to me if all you're going to do is turn around and try to get a deal when there are plenty of guys out there that will do cheaper work? Go to them.
I mean? And it's like I don't like. I guess it's the comparison, but I mean, ultimately, like we're talking about just, I guess, like tattoo protocol or standard manners type things. But right, and there's like etiquette, I guess is the word.
Yeah, it's so I just have a big issue with people that try to insult and, you know, try to get me down to a certain level as far as pricing goes. It's like when we sit down and we discuss price, that price that I give you is for the work that we have discussed, for nothing more and nothing less, right?
Some people
That is to be expected.
that's
you know?
that's
And I've told people flat out, listen, oh, you want that done too? It's like, we can do that. It's going to cost more money. And if you don't want to pay more money, then we're not doing it. It's that easy. Right. But don't people that are sneaky like that, that try to turn around and will try to be sneaky like that. I don't like people like that. And I have no issues calling them out on things like that.
he said he wanted to do the touch-ups first and get it out of the way. I'm like, look, if you want to pay me for like an hour of touch-ups of just kind of like he just wanted to blend some stuff together, not really messing with anybody's stuff at a flat rate, for an hour, I'll do whatever you want, as long as it doesn't go against my moral artist code. And then after that hour, we can do the tattoo at the same price. But that's but it's just shading. But this artist does it. But blah 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 blah. And it's just like
So go to them.
but
So
I
why
need
are you still sitting here? Why haven't you gotten up and left yet?
I know, but at the same time, what if I need the money? And it's hard to like, do I really want to not eat just because this guy's being a pain in my.
Well, number one, you should put 10% of every tattoo that you make aside.
Well, I mean, this was like a year ago, but it still bugs me. It's not like a right now occurrence, but he did just ask about the hand after like a year.
Well,
Oh, yo,
tell them,
okay.
sorry, but my prices have gone up. It's been a year. This is what my new standardized rate is.
But I really want to do the blackout. I just can't deal
Well,
with
then that's a personal issue.
but I can't deal
That's
with
not something I can comment on because that has nothing to do with me.
I can't
To
deal
me,
with
I'm happy doing any tattoos. So do I really want to do, baby mama name on someone's neck? Sure. Absolutely. Let's do it. I'll make it look awesome. Right. Do I want to do a big old school traditional American eagle on someone's chest? Yeah. Do I want to do paw prints on, the inside of someone's arm? Sure. Like
Fine.
that's where I am.
But what I'm saying is there's certain times when the client can't get out of their own way, even if you want to do it, or if there's just some times where like it's, or if I've tattooed them before and like in a certain area and they want to try again, like I'll try again, but at the same time there becomes like there's a line where I can only take, at the end of the day, it's when I can't do my job or when I'm not being paid to do my job that I start to, or I'm being demoralized or belittled when my job is really fucking hard for me anyway. But, I don't know. But
Yeah. But I'm actually going to end up going in just a few minutes. I have to get outside and get all my leaves raked.
Yeah.
Get all that stuff done today. All the adulting stuff.
like
Because we all know that I love to adult, right?
I didn't realize what time it was, but I got all my devices went off that you were live. I had to get myself together.
Cool. Well, why don't you go ahead and give us a quick sign off?
Okay. My name is Faith Wynn. I have a free art education website, wynncolor.com, WYNN color.com, and that will link you to my YouTube and my Facebook. So check it out.
Cool. Great. And thank you everyone for watching and joining us today. My name is Jason Leeser. I work at the Inkwell Tattoo in Southampton, Pennsylvania. You guys are more than welcome to come by and see me. Just know that my prices are my prices, as I've previously discussed. And would like to give a very big shout out and another quick mention to the Deadly Tattoo and Art Convention in Calgary, run by James Tex, June 3rd through 5th. It's lining up to be an absolutely epic show. I'm probably going to be up there for it, and I'll probably be doing some live broadcasting from it. So yeah, take a look, tune in, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. So take care, everyone, and have a wonderful rest